Hello, environmental science scholars. Earlier this week, Swell donated hundreds of thousands of reusable water bottles to New York City students, including to you guys. And while they have a pretty diverse range of water bottles, you guys have all the same bottles. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to hop into Photoshop. We're going to design our own label, integrating some of the themes of environmental science that we've discussed so far this semester. And we're going to print it up, pop it on our label, and we're going to be good to go. So, earlier this week, we've discussed the hydrosphere. We talked about the composition of the atmosphere, but we also talked about biomes. So I'm going to use our theme of biomes as inspiration for my label. And here is how this class works. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to go to Google Classroom. We're going to find this blank. We're going to download it by clicking the three vertical dots. We need to open this into a new window. And when we do, this little download icon appears. We're going to download it. Once it's downloaded, we're going to go to Photoshop. We're going to click File Open. We're going to find that blank. We're going to press Open, and boom. So now we've got it on our interface. Beautiful. So next, what we need to do is we need to find the visuals that we want to include. And so I'm going to include this coral reef image. So I'm going to right-click, copy image. I'm going to return to Photoshop. I'm going to press Command V to paste it in. And I can see that it's pretty big. And if we want to change the size of a layer, you're going to press Command T to change the size. We're going to hold Shift to keep it proportional, and then we're going to press check at the top to confirm. Let's do that a few more times. So I've already pulled up some of these landscapes, and here we've got a pretty nice visual of a tundra. So we're going to right click, copy image, return to Photoshop, Command V to paste, and what I'm going to do is shift these layers around using something called the Move tool. So at the very top of the toolbar is this little icon right here. You can click on an image, and then when you drag it, you can situate it anywhere you want on the canvas. Let's return to Google Chrome. We're going to pop in a visual of this desert. Command V to paste it in. This looks good. I'm going to press Command T, holding Shift to keep it proportional as I reduce the size a little bit, and then we're going to pop in just one more image, this cool one of some one from like a rainforest. Alright, so I'm going to press Command V, I'm going to pop it in, we're going to press Command T, hold Shift, reduce the size just a tad. Great, so on the right side of the screen we've got this window right here. This is our layers palette, and it's really critical. And I remember that the very first image that we put in this collage was the coral reef, but I don't really see it on our canvas except for right here in the upper left hand corner, and that's because it's on the bottom. I noticed that in our layer palette this layer 1 is also on the bottom, and if we click and drag it jumps to the top, right? So now we can't see the tundra, but if I click and drag the tundra all the way to the top in the layers palette, it's reflected on the canvas as well. Great. So what you're going to do is you're going to find some visuals that appeal to you, and I'm thinking a little bit about contrast, and I'm going to put this, I'm going to swap the desert and the tundra, and I like that right there. And one other thing, I noticed that these layers are overlapping a little bit, and that's great, and we want to do that because what we're going to do is we're going to blend them a little bit so it looks something like this. And to do that, we're going to press the letter E on your keyboard or select the eraser tool, and we're going to right click, we're going to drop the hardness to 0%, and we're going to increase the size to around over 200 pixels. We're going to make sure that we're on the right layer, and what I'm doing right now is I'm left clicking and I'm dragging, and I can see that now all of a sudden the coral reef and this rainforest are sort of bleeding into the tundra. I'm going to select now the coral reef. I'm on the coral reef layer. The eraser tool is already selected. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the Move tool. I'm going to drop down the rainforest. You see how this works? And I'm going to put it about right there. I'm going to select the eraser tool. I'm going to press E. And now we've got a pretty cool composition. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to hop on into Google Chrome. We're going to find a quote, something that resonates with you that's related to sustainability. I think I Googled environmental science quotes, and you're going to find some really fun ones. Among them, buy less, choose well, make it last. That's really profound. Another quote that really appealed to me was number 60 on this list. It says, "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. I feel like Miss Price would really appreciate that quote. So we're going to select the text tool. I'm going to click once. I'm going to press Command V to paste that text. And I don't see it. I'm going to press check to confirm. I don't see this text because if you'll notice, it's underneath the tundra and the coral reef layer. So I'm going to click, I'm going to drag it up. And now all of a sudden we can see it. I'm going to click on this text again. There's a little underline that indicates that we can edit the text. And right now I'm going to pop in a few line breaks. So you'll notice that I'm going to have 3 lines, and I'm just going to adjust the lighting real quick. All right, great. I'm going to press check to confirm, Command T to change the size, and we can use the move tool to sort of shift it around. And I like this right here. To add a little bit more contrast, I'm going to add something called a layer style to do that. In the bottom of the layers palette, it says effects, right? I'm going to select stroke, and I like that sort of dark green. I'm going to press OK, and this looks kind of beautiful. We're going to write your name on this, right? So if your water bottle turns up somewhere where you don't anticipate it, it'll find its way back to you. They'll be able to return it to you. And so I'm going to write Mr. Drozd 2018. I'm shifting the text over. And if you wanted to find a fun font, what you can do is go to dafont.com, and you can explore lots of really cool fonts that will really add some flavor to your water bottle design. Last step, we have to save our work and submit it. To do that, you're going to click File. You're going to click Save As. And instead of blank for water bottle, you're going to write your name. So I'm going to write Mr. Drozd. And instead of a PSD, we're going to save it as a JPEG. You're going to click Save. And you're going to submit this visual as a JPEG. All right, ladies and gentlemen, cannot wait to see your work. Good luck.